So what was interesting is that we had to work together. So every time I took a deep breath in, and then when I pushed out, then he turned whatever that thing was.
Hey guys, my name is Pusha Hadebe and this is Mommy Wellness Club. Welcome and thanks for tuning in. So today we're talking about a very relevant topic and I have a very special guest with me. Her name is Keamogetswe Monaiwa, but I will let her introduce herself. So, Keamogetswe.
Hi.
A very warm welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for honoring the invitation and thanks for being here.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Okay. Just a bit about yourself.
Okay. So my name is Keamogetswe Monaiwa. I am from Pretoria and I am a mom to a beautiful girl who is 19 months. And yeah, motherhood is a journey, but I love every moment of it. And I'm excited to be here. Okay. Thanks for inviting me.
No, I'm glad you're here. So you know what, ne? I'm going to let the people know. So this is not just a very special guest, okay? So Kia is also my niece, all right? Okay? And she's very kind. She's gentle. She's very wise. And yeah, you've been such a blessing.
Thank you.
In my life, personally, you know.
Thank you.
But that's not what we're talking about today, okay? So let's get started there on the conversation. So today we're talking about Keamogetswe's birthing experience, you know. So she experienced a not so smooth birthing, and today we're going to be unpacking that. So Kia, let's get started.
Yeah.
You gave birth in 2021. Okay, can you tell us about the journey leading up to the birth of your daughter?
So yeah, obviously, okay, so my husband and I have been wanting a baby. It's something that we were praying about and hoping for. So the pregnancy came and we found out, I think, when we were about 10 weeks.
Okay.
Obviously excited and looking forward to, you know, welcoming our baby. Had quite a smooth pregnancy. You know, everything was just going all right. My vital signs were fine. I was healthy. I was trying to work out and keep healthy. So everything went well, you know, with regards to the pregnancy. And then it led to, obviously, the delivery. So I struggled a bit with regards to...
You're going too fast.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, so everything was going well. So you never had any complications?
No.
You never had any challenges during your pregnancy?
No.
And you worked till the very last moment, right?
And I worked till my 36th week.
Oh, okay. So that was good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's great.
I actually wanted to work till 38, but yeah, with the circumstances, I was quite exhausted.
It's okay. 36 is still good. Okay,
Yeah.
you pushed through.
Yeah,
okay.
True.
So now you are in what week?
The 40th week. So, and I had to, you know, obviously be aware of the Braxton Hicks, the contractions that could come up and everything. So I remember that night very well. I was at home and I could feel something was starting to happen. So we rushed to the hospital only to find out that I was only 1 to 2 centimeters dilated. So my gynae said, if ever by the 40th mark, so by the due date, if ever I have not yet fully or dilated to an expected centimeters, I need to stay in the hospital because I could be then, they could possibly induce me. Okay, so then when I got there, 2 centimeters dilated, and I said I want to stay, and I want to see how everything rolls out. So I said I didn't want to be induced yet. Okay. I wanted to see, you know, how the process was going to roll out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then what happened? Did you stay at the hospital?
So I stayed in the hospital. The hours went by, and just to cut the long story short, I was in labor for 36 hours. So, which means...
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So since that night, since about 10 o'clock I got to the hospital, 36 hours later, that's when my daughter came.
Shoo! Okay, so 36. Okay, so you're at the hospital, you're 1 centimeter dilated. Your doctor says that you need to stay. And if anything doesn't...
My gynae.
So if things don't progress quickly, you have to be induced. Okay, obviously... Things are happening in these 36 hours.
A lot was happening. Oh, a lot was happening.
Yeah. Can we talk about that? Let's unpack that process.
Sure. Wow. Where do I start? So So obviously the contractions kept coming. The pains were intensifying.
Okay.
So every now and then, about 30 minutes to an hour in between, the midwife would come and check how far dilated you are. And it was going on very slowly. I'd say every 4 hours I was dilating 1 centimeter. So you can imagine.
Okay. This is unmedicated.
This is unmedicated. Okay. So I didn't have any drip on, any pain meds on. I remember maybe about 6-8 hours in, I started, walking around the ward, going up and down like a crazy woman. I remember there was even a time when I used that exercise ball.
Okay.
I didn't know what I was doing. I was just bouncing up and down. Not sure if I'm, prolonging the thing or actually,
did it feel like you were like prolonging it?
I wasn't sure. At that time, it was comfortable and, I felt like I was helping myself in a way, but I don't think I actually was.
All right.
I remember there was this mask, the face mask that I got that they said I need to take deep breaths in and out.
Okay.
And there was some sort of medication inside the mask that helped me calm down.
Okay.
It did not calm me down.
So it didn't help anything.
It didn't help.
Okay.
However, it did, kind of psychologically, the placebo effect. I felt like it's doing something, but I know it actually wasn't doing anything.
So physically, you were not feeling any different.
No, yeah.
But mentally,
it kind of worked on me. And mind you, it was still within the COVID restrictions.
Oh, yes.
So I couldn't have my husband there, and he was only allowed during delivery, the actual labor. So I was alone. I remember there was a point when I played music.
Did it help?
It did mentally and psychologically.
Yeah.
But the pain was still there. So it really helped me cope better with the pain. Yeah.
All right. So, okay, you are how many hours into the labor now?
Sure, I think about 10, 12.
10, 12. Okay. So now, what is your gynae, the midwives, what are they saying in terms of why is it taking, okay, we need to clear something out. So, with any birth, we can have expectations, we can plan, but things don't necessarily happen the way we want them to happen. You come in wanting a natural birth and you end up with
a C-section.
And vice versa. I don't know. Okay, I don't know if there are people who change from C-section to natural.
I doubt.
I don't know. But it happens, and things happen the way they're supposed to happen. But I want to know, at that point, you had come in wanting to have your baby naturally, right?
Yes, and I was very strict on that.
Oh, you were very particular. You were very adamant.
Very particular.
Okay. Yeah. So did at any point during this process offer you to maybe change your birth plan to a C-section?
I remember the midwife. So remember with for them to choose whether you should continue with a natural birth or move over to a C-section, it all depends on how the baby's heart rate is coping.
Okay.
So if the heart rate drops to a point where it's not safe for the baby, then they need to do an emergency C-section.
Yes.
However, if the heart rate is still within the normal ranges, then they want to see if they can get you to have a natural birth.
Okay.
So at that time, baby's heart rate was 100% fine.
Okay.
The only thing that the midwife was very concerned about is my fatigue levels, because if you're tired, then you're going to struggle to push. You're going to struggle to, to work through the pain and get the baby out finally. So with me, I remember she came at some point and offered me, she did say that I can have an epidural to help ease the pain. And I was getting to about 6 centimeters of dilation. And then she also offered pain medication, and then she said if all else fails and the pain continues to intensify without any progression of the centimeters, then they would need to do a C-section.
Okay.
So I then said yes to the epidural, because I was about 6-7 centimeters, and I thought, in the next 30 minutes, I'm almost there.
Yeah,
but no. It didn't happen that way. So
did you get the epidural?
I did get the epidural. So obviously the process is very quick. You turn on your back, on your side. Is it anesthesiologist? I'm not sure. But the doctor comes and gives you that injection on your spine.
Yes.
And then it obviously numbs you from the waist down. Okay. So I got that, and it lasted for about 4 hours. I think 3 to 4 hours.
Okay.
And after 4 hours...
Okay, wait.
Okay.
So after 4 hours, it wore off.
it wore off and the
Okay,
baby
so-
was not yet here.
And then how far dilated were you?
I
at
was
that point?
about 7 centimeters. Yeah.
Oh, so you only pushed
I
for
was
like,
almost there.
okay.
I was almost
All right.
there.
Okay. So now you carry on without the epidural from this point. Okay.
So I started feeling the pains when the midwife would come and check how far. I could feel now the pain is starting to come up.
Yeah.
So then that's when the midwife said they need to call in the gynae. So my gynae came, a very, very, very good gynae.
Shout out to the gynae.
Shout out, he knows. No,
Yeah.
he was literally very
Yes.
calm. He remembered that I did not want a C-section.
He didn't push for anything. Okay.
No,
all right.
which I'm very grateful for.
Okay.
So then he advised that we go ahead and use a vacuum to help push the baby out.
Okay, so that was the option.
That
that
was
you
the
had
option,
at
yes,
that point.
yes. So
because obviously,
Yeah.
he'd seen how far you had pushed.
Yeah.
He'd seen all these long hours you had been in labor
Yeah.
for, and I'm sure you were also getting fatigued.
I actually was.
Physically,
I actually
yeah.
was. I tried to be strong in the moment, and I tried to convince myself I can do
do
this. I
this,
need to be
yeah.
strong for my baby. But
Yeah.
the truth is, I was actually getting tired. I forgot to mention that I slept through the night with pain. So I woke up with pain. And that's when I knew I needed some sort of intervention. Yeah.
Okay. So then, when the gynae comes in and suggests or gives you the option that you know what, now they need to use an additional help.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were in your sober state of mind to give consent, or maybe obviously they're medical professionals, they know what they're doing, and
Yeah.
obviously they're going to do their best to save the situation and make sure that you and the baby are okay. So at that point, then you go ahead, you give birth naturally. And
So at that point, so fortunately my husband was then allowed to come in.
come in, okay,
and
that's
he
great.
then consented to the gynae using the vacuum. So the
Okay.
vacuum, I actually don't know how it looks. I just saw his hand
don't
going
know.
like this.
Yo.
And I'm like, whoa.
like you saw it went. And that time you're awake, girl. Like
Oh, my
your eyes are
word.
wide open.
Yeah.
You see everything that's
Yeah.
happening. Okay.
So what was interesting is that we had to work together. So every time I took a deep breath in, and then when
Yeah.
I pushed out, then he turned whatever that thing was.
Did you later go and find out what?
No, I
it
still don't want to
actually
look how it. I
You
don't want to know how it
know.
looks.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
then, to cut the long story short,
Yeah.
we kept turning, we kept pushing. I can't remember how long it took. So my husband was by my side the entire time. He kept on telling me I'm doing great, even though they always say that you're doing great.
I'm sure you were
baby,
doing
keep
great.
going.
Nah, I'm sure you were doing great.
But
I
Shema,
mean,
I really, you
it
have to do your best
it
in that
helped.
moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
it did help.
with the nerves,
It did
right?
help,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, then I just heard a cry. I heard her screaming,
Yes.
and she was there. She was out, and
I'm sure you're like, yay!
the best moment in my life.
Aww.
It really was.
Okay, and then at that point, okay, so, oh wow, that's quite experience,
Yeah.
So would you say then you experienced like birth trauma?
To be honest,
Okay, but firstly, maybe let's define what
Yeah.
birth trauma is.
Yeah.
So it's distress experienced by mothers during labor while giving birth, and it can actually be even after giving birth, you know. So physically, would you say you went through a traumatic experience? From what
to
you
be
said?
honest, I'd say I did go through some sort of distress.
Okay.
During the labor and even postnatally, so after giving birth.
Oh, okay.
Simply because it was a prolonged labor.
Yeah,
36 hours is really hectic.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Yeah,
hours.
and it really impacts not just your physical self, but your emotional self, your mental self. You end up feeling like you're not a good mom because you couldn't give birth to your child in the most
manner-
natural way that God, intended for us to.
But it goes back to this whole thing of, you can have expectations or want things to happen in a certain way.
Yeah.
And obviously, it doesn't always happen
No,
the way
no.
we envision or the way we had pre-planned, right?
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're okay, and I'm glad the baby was okay.
Yeah.
So you went through some sort of a birth trauma to a
Yeah.
certain extent, you
Yeah.
know. would you say that there was any emotional, mental impact or effects from the trauma that you went through during birth?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I actually even thought of of consulting with a psychologist.
Is it?
Yeah, but at that time I didn't have the time to actually see one. You know, you
like
just gave birth. Yeah. You need to make sure your baby is able to be fed. You need to heal. You know, so there's so much happening in that moment. You can't even grab a book or read something online to get tips on how to manage what you're going through. You just have to just get through the day. Literally get through the day. And every day is unique. Every day is special. Every day has its own challenges and wins, you know, those small little wins. So I did really consider seeing someone, but I know what helped was really, honestly, what helped is having support from my family. Having my husband there, having my aunts there, my mother there, it really, really helped. But also things like reading the Word of God, things like listening to music, it really calmed me down and gave me hope for the next day and for the next week and for the next month, and really gave me the sense of it's going to be okay. I'm going to be okay.
You're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay.
I managed. Here I am.
Here you are. So your birth story, so the birth trauma was physical, it was psychological as well. So how long did it take for you to now start feeling like your normal self again after giving birth?
I still don't feel like I'm my normal self even today. Yeah. I mean, my daughter's 19 months.
Okay.
And life changes when you have a child. I don't get time to myself like I used to before I had my daughter. So obviously time for me and like your self-care, you know, little things that you used to do, you can't engage in anymore like I used to. And I mean your physical self, I mean the weight gain, I mean the stretch marks, you don't feel good anymore. Like when you look at yourself in the mirror, you don't feel the same. You can see like those scars, and you can, not scars, I mean the stretch marks. You can see, you know, the little, you know, the handles here and there. So the physical changes really have an impact, really impacted me, and still do even today, you know, after having a baby.
Okay, then let's talk about your psychological being now. Would you say now psychologically you back to your normal self?
I think it's a work in progress.
Okay.
You know, even though baby's not big and walking around and doing all sorts of things, you still need to pay attention to your psychological well-being. Like it's something that you need to constantly work on. You know, it doesn't automatically fix itself or go back to how it used to be, or normalize, if I should say. It's something that you need to be intentional about and work towards, you know. And people do that in different ways. You know, for some people it's, you know, being with friends and family. For some people it's reading a book. For some people it's seeing a psychologist. For some people like myself, it's, you know, being fellowshipping, being in the house of the Lord, singing, listening to worship music. So that's, I think it's different things for different people. But I do think it's important to kind of go to reach that state where you feel well psychologically, you feel stable and healthy.
Are you well? Are you stable? Are you healthy now?
I would say I try my best to. Yeah. Okay. I'd say I'm not 100%.
Okay.
I don't think anyone actually is 100%. Or is?
I don't know.
Are you?
Are you asking me? Wow. Okay. Am I? Oh well. No, we're talking about you. Okay. Let's not.
Hey.
No, okay. Yeah. But that's a conversation we'll have.
Yeah.
At another time.
Yeah.
If we're gonna be talking about me, how I'm doing.
Yeah. No, I think I'd say I am with the circumstances. I hope that answers.
No.
Yeah.
You
circumstances as in having to balance work, life, being a mom, being a wife, being a person, and just living your life.
Everything that's happening.
Yeah.
You, right? Okay. All right. So for a person who's watching this, and you know, obviously we can have a birth plan, right? Say they just come out of a traumatic birthing experience. and they're trying to cope, what advice, tips would you give them?
You know, our environments are different and circumstances are so different, and one needs to consider that there's no quick fix. There's no one way to do it. I mean, you need to, like you said, you need to look at yourself holistically, not think just about your health, like your physical health. You need to think about your emotional, your spiritual health, your mental health. So for me, I would say having a supportive family or people that can really be behind you and support you through this process is key. But if you don't have, I think it'll be good for you to find ways that you would feel encouraged and motivated and uplifted. Being a new mom or being a second time mom, you really need to be, I'm going to go back to the word that I used, intentional about your health and about your physical and mental well-being.
And for maybe people who don't have that support structure that you mentioned, there are places, that are really open to helping people in who are in distress, who still experience especially emotional and mental distress after giving birth. And I'll just put the details in the description box.
All right, Gia, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us about your birthing experience, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Continue being a good mom, be very intentional, as you've already mentioned.
It was really lovely to be here, and I hope this conversation will go a long way and help someone out there.
I hope so too. Let us know your thoughts, your experiences, and I'll be in touch, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much, and till next time, bye bye.